Good morning, sisters. I'm Shanti.
Shanti, good morning to you, brother.
How are you, Lynette Ben?
Very good, thank you. Very good. Very thankful for everything.
Yeah, I can feel your energy. Great to have you here. Good morning, Juliet Ben. Good morning, Ambika Ben.
Good morning, brother. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for being here. Hello, Ambika Ben. Are you connected with us? Maybe not. So I think she's got a little issue, maybe. So first of all, those of you joining in later on the YouTube video as well, welcome. If you haven't tuned in before, my name is Shailen, and me and my mother, we are students of the London Centre. And actually, we met Juliet Ben. She's also a student of the London Centre. So we've known each other way back. And this is a Chit Chat program which we hold for BK students. And everyone is welcome to join. And if you've got any thoughts or questions you wish to share, then we can discuss that. And also, we usually have some stimulus material, a morally or a Borg message, which we read at some point during the session as well, which provides us with further ideas. So that's the purpose, really, of this session. So thank you for joining through the YouTube as well, those of you who I don't meet. So those of you that are here this morning, thank you for being here. Ambika Ben, I think you might be connected now. Is that right? Are you here? Maybe not yet. So I wonder, Lynette Ben, Juliet Ben, how are you? Would you like to kick off with sharing anything, or have you got any reflections that you've been thinking about this week as you've been hearing the Morales? Oh, great, Ambika Ben, great to see you. Great that you're connected. Good morning to you.
Morning. I was using another phone, but I couldn't get the volume to come on nor the video. So I changed the phone.
Great.
Shanti, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Great to see you as well. So I wonder, sisters, anyone who'd like to kick off, what have you been all reflecting on this week?
Oh, one of the morning, I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday. And I know I should know this, but it came like a deeper realization when Baba said he was talking about the book. And he said, it is Shiv Baba Bhundaara, but it's Brahma Bhojan. It's a simple thing, but for me, it kind of reinforced that Baba say ready. Brahma Bhojan is more on for me, it's a incorporeal activity, the corporeal activity, while Shiv Baba is incorporeal and unlimited. So that made me have some thoughts.
So. Yeah, well, so maybe I'll just remind everyone about that point. So you'll recall that this week we've had a few narratives surrounding the father and the mother. And what Shiv Baba is making very clear for us is that he doesn't do things on his own. He creates a family. And if we look across Baba's knowledge, what does the picture of the tree tell us? It tells us that no part of the tree is separate. That you can't have a part of a tree that's disconnected. It just dies. So the way in which this drama is made is it's only ever done in a collective. And I think one of our beliefs in Bhakti was that God can do everything. Like, I think if we said in Bhakti that God would need to work with others, we would be considered to be defaming God, insulting God. That God is the highest on high, the omnipotent, the omniscient one. Why would he need us? Why would he need anyone else? But Baba explains that it's the way the drama is made. And this is a tree. So if you look at each of the religious fathers, it's always a collective. And in fact, if we look just wider in history, everything is done in teams. if one thinks of Dr. Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, great characters of the 20th century. I think also in the West today is Mikhail Gorbachev's funeral. So I think we all have a certain affection for that soul. In the West, I'm not sure it's shared in other parts of Russia maybe, but we do here. And you look at all of their tasks, they had to do it in a collective. So although you'll get individuals credited, I'm sure that those individuals would credit the collective. So it seems to just be the way in which this drama is made. You can't do anything on your own. So Shiva, entering the drama, observes this rule. And he also operates within this divine family structure. And he explains to us that Shiva, he never ever calls himself the mother and father. So Lady Janki used to say that there was sometimes this conversation that they would observe where Brahma Baba is saying to Shiv Baba, you are the mother and father. It's one of the Murali songs. You are the mother and father. I think two Murali songs have this same first line. You are the mother and father. And what you have here is this interesting, fun dialogue where Brahma Baba is saying to Shiv Baba, you are the mother. And Shiv Baba is saying, no, you are a mother and father. And at the end of every Murali, the way in which Baba gives love and remembrance is from the mother, the father, Bab Dada. It starts off, the spiritual father says Namaste. So there it's a singular, the spiritual father. But when it comes to the love and remembrances, it's the mother, the father, Bab Dada. So that's how we gain our love and remembrance as well. There's certain things where Shiv Baba says, I do it on my own. And other things he says, no, actually, this is the mother's role. This is not me. So he always describes himself as the father. And we were hearing this week where Baba was saying that Brahma is the divine mother cow. So one of the creation myths in Hinduism is that all of the deities, including Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar, were all born from this giant divine cow. And so they have a picture in some temples of this huge cow with all the deities sitting inside of the cow. And so Baba is evoking this, that Brahma is remembered as the creator, this divine cow is remembered as the creator, and then you've got the mother goddesses, haven't you? They are always, creation is linked with the goddess. You go right around the world. There are traditions around that because it's only when the soul is in a female body that they can have children. So there is this connection between the female energy and the earth. So generally, Mother Earth, it's that feminine, grounding energy. And Shiv Baba says that with the religious fathers, they also have this dynamic of the father being the incarnation. And in that first birth, whether it's Christ, he's the father soul, he remains incorporeal, karmati, and enters the body of Jesus. And that soul of Jesus is actually the mother soul of that religion. And it came in the Murali a few weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, where Baba said that because Jesus was also a male, they would have appointed females, so the Mother Mary is remembered. And so he was drawing that parallel with Mama being appointed or the daddies being appointed because you've got the male body. But he's saying the soul is still the mother soul. And he says to us that Brahma is unique because he's not only the mother soul of this religion, but he's also Prajapita, the father soul. So you've got this one soul out of all of the religious fathers who actually has this dual energy within him. And so Brahma, the way Baba puts it is that this Brahma, Prajapita Brahma, is down here. So when Brahma was in the corporeal world, it was that corporeal energy, the father of the people, the father of humanity. But when Shiv Baba is inside of him, that soul is the mother, because Shiva is the father. And so a different energy seems to be accessed when Shiva is also there. So you've got the mother, the father, Bapdada. And Lady Janki used to talk about this change that she observed in Brahma Baba, and I also have heard that said from other sisters, that after Mama became Karmatit and left, there was more of a obvious role of the mother from Brahma. So up until Mama was there, then Baba used to say that you are receiving Brahma Bhojan, but it's Mama's kitchen, Mama's Bhundaara. So the Yagya was connected with the Yagya mother, with Mama. After Mama went, then we begin to hear more of this narrative that we're hearing in these Murlis, where Shiv Baba begins to talk about Brahma more as the mother. And so Baba began to emphasize this is Brahma Bhojan. So Baba was saying this week, there's two words. One is Bhundaara and the other is Bhundaari. So Bhundaara with the A at the end, Bhundaara, that means kitchen. And Bhundaari with the I at the end, that means treasure store or bank account, like your account. So Baba was saying that Shiva, like it's linked to today's Murali about making Shiv Baba your heir. So Shiva is the zero, he's the multiplier. So all of us, we are using our body, mind, and wealth based upon Shiv Baba's teachings. So anytime we do that, Baba says that it's the equivalent of accumulating in Shiv Baba's treasure store. And of course, on a practical level, each center should be keeping like an account. There should be a separate bank account. So brothers and sisters should always look for those official bank accounts and centers and contribute there, because these things should always be transparent and accounted for. So we could say officially those bank accounts are Shiv Baba's treasure store, but sometimes the contribution is not quite so clear like that. For example, a BK could provide a lift in their car to someone doing some service. So you're contributing indirectly through the diesel, the petrol. Like there's indirect contributions which would also be accumulated with Shiv Baba, even if you're not directly putting the money into the account and then taking it back again. So Shiv Baba knows what you're doing. And in this role, the title of Shiv Baba is Dharmaraj. Dharmaraj. So Dharmaraj in Hinduism is the supreme accountant. The story behind Dharmaraj is that Yam is the god of death, Yam. And when Brahma creates the world, he is creating a cycle of rebirth. So in order to have rebirth, you have to have death. So he creates Yam. And Yam is born, but he realizes the great task that Brahma has given him. And he says, in our modern language, we would say that Brahma, it's too much multitasking. I will get overwhelmed. So Yam is one of the first characters to think about well-being. Nowadays, we talk about well-being a lot. So Yam says to Brahma, I won't be able to cope with so many deaths if I also have to keep an account of the karma. I need an assistant. So the story is that Brahma dreams about Dharmaraj, and through his thought, he then gives birth to Dharmaraj. So Dharmaraj is depicted as Yam's assistant, the assistant of the god of death. And while Yam is granting souls death and moving them on, Dharmaraj has got all the accounts. So he's recording and shaping everything. So no one needs to think about anything. He is completely accurate. The supreme accountant. So Shiva is Dharmaraj, the supreme accountant. So we don't need to worry that, because sometimes what happens is you've, for example, there's indirect contributions from your family. So your family might help you with something or give you some money. And then you think, okay, I'm going to buy some fruit for Baba Center or something else. You're going to contribute into Baba Center. So officially, you're the one giving it. But Shiv Baba as Dharmaraj, he knows there's actually a chain of contribution. So he has this capacity in that intellect, this marvelous intellect that Shiv Baba has, to know the chain of contribution. So he will give all of these things. I remember so when I was younger, I just learned how to drive, so I would have been 18, 19, something like that. And one of my uncles wanted to buy me a car. So I asked Sister Jayanti that should I accept it? Or will that be a karmic account? And she said to me that I should definitely accept it because these are things that happen in the drama so that souls create their fortune. So there are some souls that create their fortune indirectly with Shiva. By helping another Brahmin, they wouldn't do it directly for the yajna, but they'll help you. And then you can go and serve. So I must have driven that car in service thousands, tens of thousands of miles, because I was actually very motivated to do the service, but also that soul will create their fortune the more that that car is used for service. Shiv Baba knows, you don't need to count. Everything is being accumulated. And when that uncle left the body, Baba actually sent a message. And he said that even more of that uncle's resources are going to be accepted by Baba. So he said that that soul had that thought of giving. And so Baba has noted that. So Baba is going to accept even more in the future from that soul. It's interesting how he keeps a note. He's watching everything. He knows everything. So Shiv Baba's Bhundaari is linked with this aspect of Dharmaraj. But at confluence age, it's even more special because it's the multiplying for many births, not just one birth. And so it's this direct connection. So Baba says, I create a yajna. And the reason Baba creates the yajna is so we got somewhere to put our money. somewhere to put our resources. Otherwise, what do we do with it? How do we create our fortune? So Baba creates this game. Instead of just doing it all himself, he says it's in the drama that everything has to be a collective. So if you think how many millions of souls must have created their fortune even up until now, contributing something into the yajna. Do you remember Baba said there are three categories of BKs, the loving and cooperative ones, the yogi and the cooperative ones, and the ones who are constant yogis. So Baba knows there are loving and cooperative souls. They won't become yogis. They won't study the morally so much. But all of them are accumulating in Shiv Baba's Bhundaari. So the purpose of the Bhundaari is so souls create their next cycle. So that whatever you accumulate now, it goes with you. Baba says 21 births for sure, but Daddy Janki used to say that she thinks it lasts until the end of the next cycle. Brahmins continue to receive some help from one place or another. And if we look at ourselves, we've all had plenty to eat. Most Brahmins, we're still, our bellies are full till the end of the cycle. And so Daddy used to say she thought it was what we were accumulating now would continue to help us right around the next cycle. And then Baba also sustains, so that's the accumulation for the soul. That's the purification of our resources. We've used body, mind, and wealth according to the vices. So now, to use it according to Srimad purifies all of that, and we accumulate. And then Baba connects the body with the mind as well. So he says what you're putting into your stomach also affects your mind. And we know that all of the elements are Dhamma-pradhan. So everything that we're breathing, drinking, eating has the iron-aged vibrations fixed within it. And, it's just the way our world works. Everything is done for profit. It's done with some level of exploitation somewhere. Now, all of that is filled within the processes, even if we were just fully vegan, fully vegetarian. There's going to be some mixture there somewhere. So Baba creates the great kitchen of Brahma, the Bhundaara. So he says, Shiv Baba says to Brahma, right, surrender, your wealth, everything. And in that act of surrender, there is the establishment of a physical kitchen and a physical yajna. And so the Brahmins that surrendered, I think there were about 7, 8 families like Brahma Baba. They all put their wealth in and started everything off. So Baba calls it the yajna because it's a sacrificial fire, and fire is a purifier. So what Baba says is that this sacrificial fire is going to grow and spread. It has an energy. So something bigger than all of us Brahmins are passing through, but this yajna is going to carry on going right till the end. Shiva and the yajna, they are permanent, right until the end. So Brahma gets the ball rolling. He flicks the first domino on the domino rally. And then that triggers something. So Baba says the spark of destruction emerges from this sacrificial fire. So the moment Brahma surrenders, the process of purification commences. And so Baba is also aware that our minds are affected by the elements. So he starts off this process of Brahma Bhujan as well. And receiving that food that's been offered to Baba helps reduce the impact of the vibrations of the Iron Age. So Baba says to us that the yajna is the food received directly in Madhuban, but then the yajna has branched out, so we've got many centers. And we were hearing from Baba this morning as well, that even if you're living at home, live as a trustee. So in the last week, we've had these narratives around following a pure diet. So Baba expects us to follow a sattvic diet, and then also to offer bhog to Baba. So what Baba does when we offer bhog is he's changing the vibration in the elements. And this system of offering bhog commenced in the 1950s when centers were being started. And Daddy Genki says she was one of the first people to write to Baba about this. The daddies had this pride when they were living in Karachi that the food going into their stomach was bought with Brahma's wealth. So Daddy used to explain that it's not just the vegetables, not just the food, but the money that's used to buy the food, that's also part of the chain of energy. So they had pride that Brahma himself provided the money. And that is the food that they were consuming. And then Baba sent them to start centers. And it was a variation then of donation, because the students coming to the center would be the ones sustaining that center. So Daddy had this question in her mind that if she's using that wealth, she doesn't know where it's really being sourced. Like, how do you know these things, where it's being sourced from, how it's being earned, and so on? So the chain is then not so transparent anymore, not so simple anymore. And secondly, Daddy Janki was not a trance messenger. So when you have this offering of bhog, it was done by trance messengers like Daddy Gulzar. And so Daddy Janki was saying, well, I think she was initially sent to Delhi and then Calcutta. And I think it was when she was in Calcutta that she wrote to Baba. And she said, I'm not a trance messenger. I don't know where this money is coming. What do I do? I've got to eat, obviously. So how do I do it? So Baba sent this response that you should begin offering bhog to Baba. So that's how it all started. And Baba was saying that it doesn't matter whether you're a trance messenger. You just prepare the bhog and put it in front of Baba, and daughter, just sit there in front of Baba. So Daddy just always remembered that she doesn't need to go into trance. Baba will come and accept the bhog. She doesn't need to go up to the subtle nature. Baba will come and accept the bhog. And so then Didi Manmohini then spread that system. So right across the whole of the yajna. And she then also had the thought that everyone should at least receive something from the center once in the week. And so centers were initially offering the bhog on different days, whenever suited them. And I think it was around about 1962, 63, where there were some brothers and sisters who felt that it would be nice to have like a standardized system. So when bhog is to be offered, when it's happening. And so students, if they're traveling between centers, they know this is the day for bhog, they can go. And so Didi decided that the day of the Sadhguru was a good day, because it was an auspicious day, the day of Jupiter. And so she suggested that all centers offer on that day and share it with all the students as a collective org offering and the collective. So everyone is receiving something directly from the Bhundaara of Brahma. And then for the bigger centers, then also on Sundays as well, because more people would gather then. And then at certain points, different festivals or certain points, everyone should receive a full meal also from Brahma's Bhundaara. So the students might bring the vegetables, the fruit, the money, and then that whole process of that collective making and that transforms the collective offering. And this is the way in which the Brahmins are sustained. So Baba has created a system of Shiv Baba's Bhundaari and Brahma's Bhundaara. And this is how all the Brahmins are sustained, purified, and their fortune is created. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. It was quite a long explanation, so I couldn't do it in the morning recording, so you've given me an opportunity to expand. Would anyone like to come in and share further? Brendan Ben's also arrived, I don't know
Thinking was on the, the nectar that we get in a roti on birthday. Even that is Dadi's idea of bringing Baba's children closer. Because Dadi Janki's heart was so big, she wanted everybody to have that experience and come closer, because when we are new and we hesitate and we feel strange, and there are all. So that's why she said to Baba, Baba, can we offer this? She got a big urn and make Amrit nectar, that water. It's just the water with honey and saffron and sugar. Yeah.
So that was so Baba started that system. Baba used to give nectar in Madhubad directly himself, and it's just this sweet water, really sugary water with saffron. And so it was connected with Madhubad, that you went to Madhubad and you had the nectar from Baba. But Baba had said to Dadi that she has to create a model of Madhubad in London. So when it was like an interesting negotiation process, really, to get Dadi Janki come to London. Because she was a senior Dadi, Baba had left just a few years, 5 years before. Mama had left 8, 9 years before. So you're taking out a senior Dadi from India, where everything is expanding, and going to London, where no one has been interested so far. No students. No one. Sister Jayanti was there for a few years. No one had gone. Brother Jagdish, Sister Mohini, they'd all got. No one was coming hardly. So why would you send a senior Dadi there? And it was a negotiation going on between Sister Jayanti and her mother, and Didi Manmohini and Dadi Prakashmani. So then Didi had spoken with Baba. So initially they'd asked Sister Sarla, who was the Dadi of Gujarat, to go. And Sister Sarla said no. She didn't want to go abroad. She wanted to stay in India. So then Sister Jayanti was always very keen on Dadi Janki going. Dadi Janki was their center teacher from Pune. So they really wanted her. And then in 1974, Didi and Baba, they decided that Daddy would go. So they spoke to Daddy, and Daddy wasn't happy about it. And so she asked to meet Baba on her own. So Baba came into Daddy Gulzar, into Baba's room, and she just sat with Baba on her own and just had a personal meeting with Baba for a while. And what her first question to Baba was, if I go abroad, I won't have a Baba's room like this. Because she loved Baba's room in Panda Baba. She really felt that closeness to Baba there. Even after he'd become an angel, she was celebrating that angelic meeting. And she couldn't imagine not being able to sit in Baba's room. And Baba said, you're going to get an identical room to this there. And then a second question was about coming to Mother Baba. And Baba said, you have to go and create a model of Mother Baba there. And then later on, she'd also asked this question about nectar. So this is what Ranjan Ben is referring to. So Baba said, well, that you're creating another Mother Baba. So because Daddy was there, London also began to give this nectar also with the Borg. And so certain things London was allowed to do, which other centers were not allowed to do. And even when Baba came to speak the Murali, the first copy went to Delhi Janki in London before Delhi and Mumbai. So it was London, then Delhi and Mumbai. These were the three places where the Muralis were sent, and then wider distribution. So this is what Ranjan Ben is referring to. So Daddy had this feeling as well that you're creating this Bhundaara, Shiv Baba's Bhundaari, and also Bhundaara. And Delhi Janki had been tasked by Brahma Baba to be the main fundraiser for the yajna. She was very good at these contacts and relationship building. And most of the funds, they were from the daddy's families for many decades. So just like I was saying before, with the example of my uncle, they were not likely to just give that to an institution. But if they felt it was going to their relatives, they were more likely to give. So Daddy Janki was really great at that. Many of the Sindhi brothers and sisters had relocated at partition from Sindh, which unfortunately has been in the news this week due to the flooding. It's like the epicenter of the flooding at the moment. And they relocated from Sindh to Pune. So in those days, the province of Sindh was actually governed under British rule by Mumbai. So it was the governor of Bombay who was also the governor of Sindh. So there was these connections politically and legally. And Pune is south of Bombay, Mumbai. And that was a place where many Sindhis relocated. So that was why Baba sent her to start the center in Pune, because it was part of this relationship building and also fundraising. So Baba used to call her, he used to say that you have different sons, you have different children. He used to always treat Daddy Prakashmani, Daddy Chandramani, Daddy Janki as sons. Daddy Janki used to say that she was always very soft. She was like a typical soft girl. Anything happened, she used to just cry and get emotional. If she saw a spider, she ran away. Baba was having none of that. He expected everyone to be an all-rounder, so he was not having. So he had to balance everyone's personality. He said, right, you are now my sons. So he used to call them Beta, not Betty. Betty means daughter. And he used to call them Beta, my sons. So Janak is the masculine of Janki, and he used to call her Janak. You are my son, Janak. And he used to say that you get some sons who you have to provide for. And then you got other sons who go out to work and provide for the family. And those sons are greatly loved by the parents. So he used to say to Daddy Janki, you are that type of son. You've got to go and make them up for the family. So she was very good at this relationship building and fundraising. And then from London, she actually managed to also do that because Sindhi families are also in London and other brothers and sisters too. So for many years, half of the finances coming to Motherburn were coming from London as well. So that became that role there that Daddy was playing. So Shiv Baba's Bhundaari, the treasure store, and she was also very keen on cooking. So in the early days of the London Centre, like Sister Mahini of New York, she reminds me in many ways of Daddy Janki. When I'd visited New York for just 2 days when I was 18 years old in 1996, my Lokik father was taking me to America for Lokik things, and Daddy Janki. I initially said to him I wouldn't go. I assumed that Daddy would say that why would you want to go to these relatives things? And so I just said no to him, and then I told her. I said, "Oh, my father had invited me to go to America," and she was very excited about it. She said, "Oh, you must definitely go then," and I was really surprised. So then I called him back and said, "Oh, yeah, I'll go." So he was happy, but I said I wanted to visit New York. So my aim was to go and visit Sister Mahini, maybe also take him. And she actually cooked for him and his wife as well. So I remember it left a distinct impression on me that she was very keen on karma yoga. That's, I've heard her afterwards as well talk about this in her classes that that she loved to cook, but there was this thing that you're not just a teacher, you're also sustaining. It's Brahma's Bhundaara as well. There's something about karma yoga that's very important. And Dedi Janki was like that. So she handed over to other mothers after some years, but for decades, she always did the cooking in the centers. She loved making the bowl. So Dedi Janki really embodied, I think Sister Mahini, she really embodies these two aspects. Shiv Baba's Bhundaari. So Sister Mahini will take the treasures and then invest them and build all these retreat centers and be the trustee, really, for those things. But she's also always, I think now her age is such and health is such, she probably doesn't do it anymore. But for many decades, I know that she did directly do that. So making the board, then Sister Mahini will offer the board. She'll bring back a message. She always says, all of you came with me to the subtle region. You were all there offering the bowl. She always says that. So it's this thing of the collective. This is what these souls, I think, bring to us. That even if Shiva and Brahma are not in the corporeal, the yajna is. So they are sustaining from the subtle region, but they created something. Mama, we heard in last Saturday's bold message that Baba was saying that Mama gave every form of cooperation to get the yajna started. And then Daddy picked up the baton, and ran with that and expanded the yajna. So he has made sure that there are those elemental connections as well as the spiritual connections of the subtle. You want to carry on? Anyone else would like to come in and comment?
Thank you. You were reminding me of thoughts I had about the power of Baba's food. And I was remembering when I first started going to Global Corporation House as a new student that I found the food very difficult to eat, very foreign to me. But over time, how that transformed to being normal for me. And it also brought to my memory conversations around the power of the transformation that food can bring where we have difficult relationships in our Lokik families, where I've spoken with sisters, married sisters, who used Baba's food to transform the relationships with husbands who had previously been very uncooperative, or introducing other members of the Lokik family to the teachings of Baba, or some of the benefits, the transformation. And I think there's a secret behind the preparation and the offering of food to Baba, the preparation of bhog, the preparation of our everyday meals. And I was wondering if you could say something more about that, because it's like there's a hidden magic around food, and it's like everything Baba's told us about what to eat, what not to eat, it's coming to pass that the things that we don't eat and not supposed to eat is gradually being shown to be things that even on a Lokik level are dangerous for the body. So
Yes. So I think Ranjanben's the right person to answer that. So rather than me.
Well, no, you can also, but when you said that, Baba, 2 days ago, Baba said, how you prepare bhog, how you offer to Baba our consciousness, and then after that, how you present it to others as well as to yourself. All that is important, so bhog prepared with Baba and in Baba's remembrance. And, then you can, when you're preparing and you have awareness, like when you have some VIP or special guest coming, how much love, attention you put into it. And Baba is the biggest guest, very, very, Baba says, and he comes, and so how much attention you should have to be soul conscious to preparation, and not allowing any impure thoughts, any waste thoughts to come, and prepare it with Baba, with relationship. Baba is not going to eat it. Like he says, Brahma Baba will, because you're prepared and you're offering, Brahma Baba does take the vasana.
Well, no, in those days when Brahma Baba was there, he was eating.
Yeah, he
So
was
Shiv
eating.
Baba takes lesson.
Yeah.
He takes the vibration, the
Vibrations,
fragrance,
yeah.
the fragrance.
Yeah. And blesses it. And then, so this is how Baba would like us to prepare it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that some BKs would ask when Bab Dada was coming into Daddy Gozal's body, and then the daddies would feed him afterwards, is Shiv Baba eating? So then Baba would say that the subtle body of Brahma would do the eating. Shiv Baba never eats at any point. He just takes the fragrance, the vibrations, the heart that you put into it.
And also, and then Baba often says in the Murli that though, like when we have bhog on Thursdays, and then, well, sisters have got up very early in the morning and have prepared with so much love and good feelings and good wishes for everyone, and benefiting everyone. But then Baba says it's up to those who eat it. When we get bhog or tholi, it depends what my consciousness is, how I'm eating it. Am I remembering Baba? Am I inviting Baba, my friend? Am I eating with Baba? And then that would taste even different. And, and which intention, which bhavana feelings I'm eating it with. Because Baba Daddy often said, bhog is really a best medicine, for if it's prepared properly, if it's given with us beneficial feelings, that it can cure people. I mean, even And we have seen a lot of that. Of course, we have to take our medicine, and because our bodies, we are still in this world, so we have to do that. But even bhog does help. And so it's up to the person who takes and make sure that is eaten, is Baba's food, nothing is wasted. If you want, just take a little or take. We used to see a lot of people who they throw so much away, there's a waste. Shouldn't be really. But it depends if you invite Baba. And also drinking water. If you notice Sudesh and they will give drasti and then drink it, because at the end there will be so much pollution, so much polluted water, so much. So this practice over a long period of time will help at the end, because as the time goes, as things happen, and Baba has said that you are lucky, Baba will feed you with bread and soup. He won't give you rich food, variety of food that you like. So we are lucky we have that guarantee from Baba. Whereas, situation, everything. So even water. Remember that he did some, what was it, Japanese?
He left the body actually a few years back.
I forget about
That's right. I think many brothers and sisters will know about that Japanese researcher about the water crystals and how their energy changes with prayer and vibration. But I think you mentioned it, Julia Ben have also mentioned it, this role of Brahma Bhojan and changing energies. I think it's an interesting thing to think about. Like you're saying, with relationships, but also in service. I was listening to Sister Mahini share something a few weeks ago, and she was recounting her time in London in the 1970s. And Daddy Janki had just arrived in 74, and still not many people were interested. So service was not expanding. They'd been trying for a good 5 years. And they asked, so Sister Mahini was offering Borg. In those days, Sister Jayanti also used to be a trance messenger. So they were offering Borg. And they asked Daddy, so what do we do? We're trying everything in service. It's not expanding. And Daddy Janki's answer to most things was, well, we better prepare some Borg and offer it. That seemed to be her, like there was something about the importance of honoring Baba that was going to shift some energies. But the way in which Daddy had a great sense of humor, as you know, Juliet Ben, and she said to Sister Mahini, right, we're going to have to prepare Borg. You're going to have to go back up to the Sutta region every day and keep rattling Baba's door until he helps us out and gets this energy shifted and gets people coming. So it's this interesting combined form like this, that this is all a relationship. This I think is what Daddy is bringing across. That if we are not making food for Baba, it's like we'd feel he doesn't really exist. It's like if you're living with someone, you're going to prepare food for both of you. And I think that's the other part of this, that it's why, like I've heard some BK students in London feel that, well, this is all bhakti, isn't it? But I think it's this sentiment of the relationship, that we know that Baba doesn't eat the food, but by honoring him, by offering, actually he feels that we are remembering him in another way, and he feels that heartfelt effort, that heartfelt sentiment. And so he then shifts energies in our drama to help us out. And then this other bit that Ranjan Ben has raised, that how Baba gets us to do this now, so that when food is not going to be available, we will still gain. There's like a karmic account we've created with Shiv Baba, that he will make sure that dal and roti, that bread and soup, is there. And I think that has been the case when Brahmins have been in crisis situations, that help has come. So he's guaranteeing that. I think it was in both of the book messages from New York and from Shanti Bhavan this week, where it really sat deeply with me that Baba was saying, the more crisis situations come your way, the more Baba is going to protect you, the more he's going to help you.
During workshop.
It was just 2 days ago. And also from the New York one, that Baba's with you. Don't forget. And what I liked about that New York board message was, it's a simple point, but it really registered with me. But Baba was saying that I started you off on this journey, on this pilgrimage. I'm going to make sure you get to the end. And I just really like that. Like, it's such a simple thing, but it was nice to hear that from Baba, that I started you. You wouldn't have even done it if I didn't inspire you to begin. So just be aware, I'm with you all the way. I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to make sure you're there till you get to your destination. So that reassurance. So I think it's this relationship that we're also activating through the offerings. And that can be not just book, like body, mind, wealth, like it's all an offering.
And also, Baba doesn't say that, whether you cook for your family. Baba wants us to break that attachment, because our test paper is to become Nasto Mohasmuti Labdha, the end. Baba has already given us a question and
Translator.
About conqueror of attachment by being Smriti Labdha, embodiment of remembrance. So, all the relationships with Baba, because we have our relations of this birth is with us, like my son, my whatever. But we have taken so many births and we have so many. So this is why, they all need help. And Baba doesn't say don't, at present, we have lot of things, and if our children like something, do prepare, but not with attachment that, oh, he likes it. No, I'm cooking for Baba, is cooking with me for Baba's child. And so, cook whatever, but no attachment in that, or not remembrance of that child or their likeness or anything, but, offering to Baba, Baba is with it, and then Baba doesn't. In fact, daddies feed us a lot of different variety of things. I mean, those who have been Madhuban before, how Dadiji used to feed foreigners. You like chips and you like ice cream and gulab jamun and samosas. So Dadiji always fed us with variety of foods, because it was now the times according to time. Even now, everybody is getting quite a variety, quite a lot. And we also in our homes, we are very lucky. We have a lot of necessary food, whatever we at present. So have it while it is, but in Baba's consciousness, with Baba. Baba is always happy to see children having everything.
So I think that leads us nicely into reading a book message. So we are running through some of those early board messages when Daddy Prakash Mani became Karmatit, and they are very insightful. So I'll hand over to Ranjan Ben to take us through another one.
Yes. And I'm sure you all practice about silence. Did you discuss that? Remember you had given a homework.
We'll do that in a few weeks.
Yeah. But yes. We read 5 days. Now this is the 6th day, and the date is 31st August 2007. And this is Bhog message via Sashi Behan of Madhuban. She has become the instrument to take Bhog to Baba and bring back the. Oh yeah, you're supposed to translate. Okay.
You're speaking in English.
I'm sorry. I forget. So 31st August 2007 दादी जी के निमित्त विशेष भोग तथा वतन का दिव्य संदेश शशि बहन.
Special Bhog for Baba and the divine message from the Sattva region through Shashiba.
आज आप सब की मीठी मीठी याद लेते जैसे मैं वतन में पहुंची तो वहां का एक बहुत सुंदर दृश्य देखा.
As I reached the Sattva region with all of your sweet remembrances, I saw a beautiful scene.
सामने से एक पुष्पक विमान दिखाई दिया और उसके पीछे काफी सारे पुष्पक विमान थे जो बहुत स्पीड से आगे बढ़ रहे थे.
I saw a divine plane, and behind that divine plane there were many other divine planes, all moving forward at a very fast speed.
ऐसे लग रहा था जैसे विमान का झुंड सामने आ रहा है और उनसे बहुत सुंदर लाइट निकल रही है.
It seemed as if there was a group of planes moving forward together, and there was a very beautiful light emerging from that group.
कुछ समय के बाद एक पुष्पक विमान नीचे लैंड किया तो बहुत मीठी धुन बज रही थी.
After some time, one of the planes landed, and there was a beautiful sound emerging.
उस विमान से बाबा और दादी बाहर आए. दादी का रूप बहुत सुंदर सजा हुआ दिखाई दे रहा था.
And out of that plane, Baba and Daddy exited, and Daddy's form was very beautifully decorated.
जैसे ही बाबा ने मेरी ओर देखा तो मैं कभी बाबा से कभी दादी से दृष्टि ले रही थी. उस समय इतनी लाइट फैल गई जैसे वातावरण बहुत शक्तिशाली बन गया.
And then Baba looked at me, and Daddy looked at me, and taking that drishti, it was such a powerful experience of light spreading everywhere.
मैंने कहा, शशि बहन ने कहा, बाबा आज दादी को कहाँ लेकर गए थे?
I asked Baba where he took Daddy today.
तो बाबा ने कहा जब से दादी वतन में आई है तो एडवांस पार्टी के जो भी भाई बहनें हैं जहाँ दादी जाती है वहाँ सब दादी के साथ साथ जाते हैं.
And Baba responded that since Daddy has come to the subtle region, the other brothers and sisters who are in the advanced party, they are also traveling wherever she goes.
And in bracket it says दादी के पुष्पक विमान के पीछे एडवांस पार्टी वालों के विमान थे. You know?
So that's why there was the group of planes.
हाँ. दादी के साथ सभी बहुत गहन अनुभव प्राप्त कर रहे हैं.
And so together with Daddy, all of the advanced party souls are having a very deep experience.
उनको लगता है दादी एक गाइड के रूप में कंबाइंड रूप में कार्य कर रही है. वह देखकर खुश हो रहे थे.
And they were having the experience of Daddy being their guide and leading them, and so they were very happy with that experience.
And कंबाइंड रूप में कार्य कर रही.
And that they were doing the task in a combined form with her.
फिर देखा कि एक बहुत सुंदर मंडप था. उसमें दादी जैसे देवी के रूप में खड़ी है. दादी के रूप भिन्न भिन्न दिखाई दे रहे थे.
And then I saw a very beautiful tent, alcove, as where Daddy was in the form of a deity, sitting there, standing there, in that form of blessing.
कभी देखती हूँ दादी शक्ति रूप है कभी देखती हूँ दादी के हाथ में झंडा है, कभी देखती हूँ दादी के साथ बहुत से लोग हैं.
One moment I would see that Daddy was in the form of a Shakti. The next moment she was holding Shiv Baba's flag. The third moment she was meeting many different people.
तो बाबा ने कहा आज दादी ने क्या क्या किया आप देखेंगी.
Then Baba asked me that, do you want to see what Daddy has done today?
शशि बेन ने कहा हाँ बाबा.
I said, yes, Baba.
तो बाबा ने दिखाया जैसे सामने में विश्व का एक ग्लोब है, दादी उसको दृष्टि दे रही है और उस ग्लोब में परिवर्तन आ रहा है.
And then I saw that there was this globe in front of Daddy, and Daddy was giving drishti to the entire globe, and that globe was beginning to change.
तो बाबा ने कहा जो भी विश्व परिवर्तन के कार्य में लगे हैं उनको गाइडेंस की फोर्स भरने की जरूरत है. दादी उनमें विशेष फोर्स भर रही थी, गाइड कर रही थी. जिस
Those who are instruments for world transformation require extra guidance and force, and Daddy is filling that within them.
जिससे उनको लगता था कि अभी मुझे बहुत कुछ कार्य करना है.
And this inspires them to feel that I have to do many more tasks now.
दूसरी ओर विश्व परिवर्तन के जो निमित्त है उनको दादी टच कर रही थी.
On the other side, those that are instruments for world transformation were receiving a touching from Daddy.
तीसरा, दादी ने विश्व का भ्रमण किया तो जो आत्माएं खाली खाली अनुभव करती है उनके सामने दादी जाती और रहम दिल बनकर उन्हें कुछ न कुछ शक्ति उमंग दे रही थी.
On the third side, Daddy was looking at the souls who feel that they're empty and needy, and she was filling them with some attainment, some form of power and enthusiasm.
फिर बाबा ने दादी को सहस्त्र भुजा वाला दिखाया. बाबा ने कहा दादी अकेला कुछ नहीं करती लेकिन सबको साथ लेकर प्रेरणा दे रही है कि इतना बड़ा यह कार्य करना है.
And then Baba showed Daddy in a multi-armed form. And he said that Daddy never does anything on her own. She always inspires a collective to come together.
कि इतना बड़ा कार्य करना है.
And inspires them to feel that we have to complete a very big task.
फिर यह दृश्य पूरा हुआ तो दादी मेरे सामने थी. मैंने कहा
That scene finished, and Daddy was then standing in front of me.
तो शशि बेन ने कहा दादी आप ऐसे कैसे चली आई, सभी आपको बहुत याद करते हैं.
So I asked Daddy that, how did you just come up to the Sattva region so suddenly? Everyone is remembering you so much.
तो कहा मैं भी याद करती हूँ. तो दादी जी ने
Daddy
कहा
responded that I also remember everyone.
लेकिन किस रीति से याद करती हूँ, मैं स्नेह के साथ जब बेहद के परिवार को देखती हूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि बाबा का हर बच्चा बेहद की बुद्धि वाला बन बेहद के कार्य में लग जाए.
But in what form do I remember everyone? I look at every one of Baba's children and I think that it would be good if their intellect became unlimited. Can you read that?
तो मुझे लगता है कि बाबा का हर बच्चा बेहद की बुद्धि वाला बन बेहद के कार्य में लग जाए.
And becomes engaged in an unlimited task.
देखो अभी मैं बहुत स्पीड में चारों ओर चक्कर लगाती हूँ तो मैं चाहती हूँ कि मेरे सेवा के सभी साथी अपने को ऐसे ही स्पीड में लाकर हद की बातों से ऊपर उठे और यह कार्य तीव्र गति से करे।
Look, I am traveling everywhere at great speed, and I have the feelings that all of my service companions should go beyond all limited aspects and take their intellect into the unlimited and perform this task of service with great speed.
तो शशि बेन ने कहा, दादी आपको सभी ने विशेष मोहिनी बहन मुनि बहन ने बहुत बहुत याद दी है।
I then said that, Daddy, everyone has given you a lot of love and remembrances, especially Mohini Ben and Muni Ben of Malabar.
जब मैं याद दे रही थी तो सभी दादियाँ और मुख्य भाई और जिन्होंने सेवा की है सबको बाबा ने वतन में इमर्ज किया और
And then Baba emerged all of the main brothers and sisters into the subtle region.
सबको बाबा ने वतन में इमर्ज किया और दादी के सामने सभी अर्थ चंद्रमा के रूप में खड़े हो गए।
And they stood in a semicircle around Daddy.
और ऐसे दादी ने हाथ किया जैसे सबको वरदान दे रही है।
And then Daddy raised her hand of blessings.
फिर बाबा ने कहा कि तुम लोगों ने दादी की सेवा भी बहुत प्यार से की है और दादी से बहुत कुछ पाया भी है।
And then Baba said that all of you have served Daddy a lot, and you've also attained a lot from Daddy.
तो सेवा की या भाग्य जमा किया? बाबा asked.
And
बाबा
so
ने
Baba asked that, did you serve or did you accumulate your fortune?
पुण्य और शक्तियां जमा की?
Did you accumulate charity and the powers?
इतना बड़ा सौभाग्य प्राप्त किया जो विश्व महाराजन के साथ रहने का, वो वाइब्रेशन कैच करने का।
You received such a big fortune to live with a soul who is going to be a world emperor, and you were able to catch her vibrations.
अपने अंदर उन गुणों को धारण करने का भाग्य मिला।
And you received the opportunity to adopt her virtues and bring them into yourself.
तो इस भाग्य को सदा अपने पास कायम रखना और उसी स्वरूप को धारण करना।
Keep this fortune with yourself and become the embodiment of these things.
फिर बाबा ने खास सबको याद दी, विशेष मुनि बहन मोहिनी बहन को कहा, जैसे हर कार्य में सदा तत्पर रही ऐसे ही तत्पर रहना।
Then Baba gave love and remembrances to everyone and said especially to Muni Ben and Mohini Ben that just as you fulfilled all of your duties before, carry on doing that.
जैसे दादी अपने संकल्पों से वाणी से सबको अनुभव कराती रही, ऐसे आप भी दूसरों को यही अनुभव कराना।
Just as Daddy gave experiences to everyone through her thoughts and her words, you have to also do the same.
फिर शशि बेन ने भोग सामने रखा तो बाबा ने दादी को अपने हाथों से भोग खिलाया और कहा, दादी की सबको याद देना।
So I put the bhog in front of Baba and Daddy fed everyone, and Daddy said, make sure that everyone is fed.
और कहा, दादी की सबको याद देना और कहना कि बेहद के कार्य में बेहद बुद्धि रख, संगठित रूप में कार्य करते चलो तो बहुत हल्कापन और सदा सफलता का अनुभव करेंगे।
And give my message to everyone that everyone has to keep their intellect in the unlimited task. And if we keep our intellect in the unlimited while performing all tasks, then we'll remain light all the time.
लाइट एंड सफलता का अनुभव करें
and experience success.
ऐसे याद प्यार लेते मैं साकार वतन में आ गई। अच्छा, ओम शांति।
So taking these love and remembrances, I came back into the corporeal world. Many nice points there in that message. Would anyone like to share anything? Any of their reflections?
Uh, this spoke message with Daddy, you know, in the logic, Daddy always only wanted what was best for the children to move forward. And even in this logic stage, she continues to just want that for us to move forward. And I was thinking about one of the book message I think Shashi Ben did this Thursday, where it is Baba would have taken her for a walk into this fortress. And as Daddy, in this message so long ago, also talk about lightness. And the two doors that Baba showed was being light to go through that door. And the other one, I think, was all rice, meaning full. So basically, for years, we've been told the same thing through the book messages, and Baba keeps reminding us. And, you know, the love that Daddy has, it means that Daddy is still there giving that love. All these seniors who would have gone, the daddies who would have gone. And, you know, but Daddy Prakashmi herself has such a love for the Yagya, love for Baba's children, and only wanted whatever it is can be to push them forward, to move forward, to make them full. So that's what I would, because I've compared it while Rajan Ben was reading it, I was comparing it to that book message that came on Thursday with Shashi Ben.
Thanks for reminding us. And there was also the scene in that one about going into the garden and picking the flowers and the fruits. And here Daddy is saying, take your intellect out of the limited. You know, that the thing about success is it can make us limited, actually, because we are concerned about achieving something now, something that's recognized, something that's evident, something that's obvious. But Bab Dada is doing service on such a subtle level. It's incognito. It's unseen. So the angels, they serve in an unseen way. And we might get caught up in being obvious. And we might get caught up in our day-to-day tasks. We might get caught up in our karmic relations. But Daddy is saying, keep your intellect unlimited. That's going to be the key. So if we just focus on that world meditation through the day, that ultimately, what am I here to do? We've had a couple of blessings this week where Baba said that spread Baba's powers. You know, take from Shiv Baba and then spread those powers into the atmosphere. So there's very subtle and unlimited service. So Baba was showing this scene that Daddy's giving drishti to the globe and things are changing. That Daddy is inspiring souls. We've heard that a few times in these messages, that she's going to inspire the scientists, those that are going to be instruments to transform. And so that's all very subtle. They wouldn't know. They would think it's their idea. And they would think it's their thought. But it's actually these angels inspiring these things to happen on a very subconscious level. So I think we have to extract ourselves from our day-to-day limitations as well. Thanks for that. Would anyone else like to share anything? Okay.
Shall we go on to day 7? This is another message. And the date of that is 1st September 2007. So it's what? It's 15 years ago. So This 1st September 2007 दादी जी के प्रति भोग तथा वतन का दिव्य संदेश रुक्मणी बहन।
This is a divine message through Sister Rukmani.
बाबा के पास भोग लेकर वतन में गई तो देखा सामने बाबा बैठे हैं। दादी को नहीं देखा तो सोच में पड़ गई कि दादी जी कहाँ है।
I took everyone's remembrances to the subtle region, and I saw Baba in front of me, but I didn't see Daddy. So then I had the thought, but where is Daddy?
रुक्मणी बेन ने कहा दादी जी कहाँ पर है।
I asked Baba, where is Daddy?
तो बाबा हमें तारा मंडल के बीच ले चला जहाँ पर अनेक प्रकार के तारे थे।
And so Baba took me to see a constellation of stars.
किसी तारे में थोड़ी चमक थी, किसी तारे में ज्यादा चमक थी।
Some stars had greater sparkle and others less.
तो बाबा बोले बच्ची देखो दादी कहाँ दिखाई दे रही है।
So Baba then asked me, daughter, can you see where Daddy is?
तो रुक्मणी बेन इधर उधर देखने लगी तो देखा चंद्रमा के बाजू में एक तारा बहुत तेजोमय था।
So I looked around the constellation and I noticed that there was a very bright star next to the moon.
बहुत रोशनी, बहुत प्रकाश दिखाई दे रहा था।
There was a lot of light.
रोशनी लाइट है। फिर मैंने कहा बाबा यही दादी है जिस तारे में बहुत प्रकाश आ रहा है।
So I said to Baba that this star is Daddy, the one from which there's so much light emanating.
तो बाबा ने कहा तारे चंद्रमा देखकर दादी कौन सा गीत गाती थी वह बताओ।
What was the song that Daddy used to sing when she used to see the moon and the stars together?
तो रुक्मणी बेन चुप रही, सोचने लगी कौन सा गीत होगा।
So I began thinking, what song would it be?
फिर याद किया तो याद आया कि दादी जी यह गीत गाती थी, न ये चांद होगा न ये तारे रहेंगे, हम हमेशा तुम्हारे रहेंगे।
And then I remembered that Daddy used to sing this song that even if the moon and the stars don't remain, we will always remain yours.
यह याद आया तो दादी भी बहुत मुस्कुराती रही।
So when she used to remember this song or be reminded of this song, Daddy used to also smile a great deal.
हमने रुक्मणी बेन ने दादी से कहा कि दादी जी आप आ गई, आपका स्थान दादी कोटेज कमरा बाबा का कमरा सुना सुना लगता है।
And then seeing Daddy smiling on hearing the song, I said to Daddy that you've come up here, but now your cottage down below seems very empty.
तो दादी ने कहा कि कमरा स्थान सुना नहीं लगता बल्कि और ही शक्तिशाली बन जाएगा।
And Daddy said, it's not empty, it's going to become even more powerful.
तो बाबा बोले बच्ची जैसे पांडव भवन में जाते हैं तो बाबा का कमरा झोपड़ी शांति स्तंभ चारों धाम अपनी तरफ खींचते हैं।
Just as when you go to Pandav Bhavan, Baba's room, Baba's hut, the Tower of Peace, everything pulls you towards itself, attracts you towards itself.
इसी प्रकार यह शांतिवन दादी जी की तपस्या और प्रकाश का स्थान बन जाएगा।
In the same way, this Shantivan will become the place where it's Daddy Prakash Mani's memorial of tapasya and light.
दादी का कमरा बाबा का कमरा कॉटेज का यह स्थान भी प्रकाशमय और शक्तिशाली बन जाएगा।
Daddy's room, Baba's room, Daddy's cottage, the tower of light, all of these will become very powerful places.
जिससे ब्राह्मण परिवार और आने वाली आत्माओं को प्रकाशमय और शक्तिशाली वायुमंडल का खिंचाव होगा.
So that the Brahmins who come and also the Brahmins who are still to come in the future will have this pull towards the power and the light emanating from these places.
यह अनुभव सब करेंगे.
Everyone will have this experience.
फिर दादी को सबीर की, मुन्नी बहन, मोहिनी बहन, ईशु दादी, अमृत भाई एवं सभी भाई बहनों की बहुत याद दी.
So then I gave remembrances from many brothers and sisters.
तो दादी ने कहा सभी ने बहुत दिल से प्यार से सेवा की है.
So Daddy said all of them have served me a great deal with their heart.
तो सभी को मेरी दिल की दुआएं और याद प्यार देना.
So give them all blessings and love and remembrances from my heart.
फिर दादियों की याद प्यार दिया तो बाबा बोले दादियों का प्यार आपस में अटूट है.
And then I gave remembrances and love from the daddies, and Daddy said that the love and remembrances between the daddies are unbreakable.
That was बाबा से.
Both of them.
बाप समान प्यार है.
It is love. Their love for each other is equal to their love for Baba.
जैसे बाबा से प्यार नहीं टूटता ऐसे दादियों का आपस में बहुत बहुत प्यार है क्योंकि बाबा ने बच्चों में कूट कूट कर प्यार भरा है.
Just as their love for Baba could never break, similarly, their love for each other can never break because Baba has filled so much love in each one of them.
तो आप सभी को भी ऐसा ही दादी समान, बाप समान प्यारा और मीठा बनना है.
So all of you have to become equal to Baba and Daddy in terms of love and sweetness.
फिर हमने दादी के पास भोग की थाली रखी. फिर बाबा ने दादी को, दादी ने बाबा को बड़े प्यार से गरम गरम भोग खिलाया और सभी को बहुत बहुत याद प्यार दिया.
So I then put the bhog tray in front of Baba and Daddy, and they fed each other the warm Brahma Bhojan, and then they gave love and remembrances to everyone.
And then Rukmani Ben came down.
And then I came back. Would you like to share anything, Anjana?
Just that about the book, I just remember it's just today's only. Baba said, "Make Baba your child." Child Baba. So I thought, well, so Baba was saying, cook for everyone, but remember you are cooking for your child, Baba. See, Baba, Baba today, you know, that's all. Anyway.
Would any of you sisters like to share anything?
Again, in this book message, we're just being reminded again, you know, the foundation of the Yagya were the daddies with Baba. It was one Baba and the unity that existed between them. And Daddy, again, Baba is saying, you know, what is important, the love that the daddies have, all of them together, and what is needed for now, which is so important for now, is to be able to have the love within the Brahmin family. One Baba, yes, but the Brahmin family, the unity of the family is what it is, will make this yagya and this the yagya strong, and where establishment is to take place means, again with the book message that came on Thursday, the fortress that is created to keep each Brahmin child safe and protected is to be able to have this unity, lightness, and also to be able to have all the rights, as Baba says, all the powers, you know. So again, you know, Daddy, Baba keeps reminding us that why it is important. But I have always felt coming into this Brahmin family where unity was always important, you know. Unity for me has been a big deal. that while we might have differences or so, there's one goal. There's one goal. And as we say in Bali, you say to be in the unlimited. Once we get into the unlimited, then the small things, you know, you don't see, the small thing doesn't pull us or distract us. But to keep this vision of being on the unlimited. Om Shanti.
Thank you. Thanks for underlining those points. Would anyone else like to share anything? Benjamin?
Yeah, today's blessing, isn't it? This is possible if we have this soul consciousness, isn't it? That
Motives.
if you look at everyone and give this spiritual love and spiritual vision and attitude, Baba said, and so that will break all the practice of that will break all the body consciousness and old habits, old sanskars. Like, you know, we feel good when we go in front of Baba or Dadis. We can feel that love, spiritual love. We all have experience, I'm sure. And so if we just, Baba said, become like Dadi Saman Bap, just now, that have that spiritual love for everyone. But yeah, and then unity. I suppose Baba said, first we need to have unity within us, with our sense organs and our mind, intellect, and sanskars, isn't it? And then, you know, probably if we remain in our unity, wasn't there a only a few days ago about self-sovereignty and unity of sense? So I think our inner unity probably brings that unity, because those daddies had those unity we can see. But, you know, I think we need to just first become that in a real, like Baba says, in dharana, in our inculcation, we become the form in our practical life. Like Baba was saying today also, the 100%, especially our lokiks will look into us, whether we have imbibed everything, what we listen to every day, what Baba teaches, 100% in us. And then I suppose, you know, we'll be able to bring that unity amongst all of Baba's children, and then they will be able to see. And that will be a nice way of revealing Baba and our teacher also. Like Baba said today so many times, Baba has become our teacher as well. He has given us all the teachings, high teachings, spiritual teaching. Okay, what do you want to say, sir?
No, I think it's a good point about this connection between motives and unity. I think it's a good one. And that's something to think on, because ultimately we all have to become egoless, don't we? In order to become incorporeal, and vice versa. Yeah, good points. Anyone else like to make any final comments before we stop today? Okay, well,
Yeah,
go.
yeah, you know, Baba has been, for past few days, Baba has been mentioning 3 feet of land. And so in Bhakti, they have a story, you know, it's a Vaman avatar, it's a midget, isn't it? Midget is dwarf. So they said that God came in as a dwarf to, there was a king who had so much arrogance, so much, he was giving a lot of charity, but he had so much arrogance about that. And also he was ruthless actually when it came to some selfish motives. But anyhow, he used to do a lot of, you know, yagyas, that fire, pit fire, yagyas, and a lot of bhakti, and have gathering of sadhus, saints, and feeding people and showing like and he thought he was very charitable. So once God took this form of a dwarf and came to test him, and he said, how can I help you? What can I give you? And he said, all I want is 3 feet of land. And he said, oh, is that all? Because he came in the form of a dwarf. And so he said, yes, but I'm not asking you for 3 feet. As you can see, I'm less than 3 feet high. And my feet, so I'm saying literally 3 feet of my foot is
3 steps.
3 steps of my foot. And he said, oh, okay, that's fine. And then he said, okay, take your...
They began laughing at him because you had the chance to ask the great king for anything, and you just asked for 3 of your steps.
And one saint or sadhu, I saw, he knew, he had suspicion that this is God himself, but he couldn't. And so when he said he warned him not to give him. He said, I think there's something suspicious. But the king said, no, I never go back on my word. I always fulfill it. So he, today Baba was saying that you sacrifice yourself. So the name of the king was Bali, Raja Bali. It's a very famous story. And so he took one step, but that step was so big that he claimed the entire earth, entire world.
So what happened is, this is an incarnation, one of the 24 incarnations of Vishnu. And so after the king agreed, he began to grow. So he became huge, a giant. And so with one step, he covered the entire globe. The second step, he was able to step up to the heavens and
Sky, the entire.
And then he had one more step left. And by then, of course,
the king understood and he realized, and everybody was asking him not to. He said, no, I won't go back on my word. So he knew. He said, now you want my body.
No, he said, there's one more step left. What will you do with it? So Vaman said that the third step I'm going to put on your head.
Oh,
so the king bowed his head because he's realized that this is a god in front of him now. And so he bows his head and he's ready. Because the belief is that if a god kills you, you are liberated. You gain moksha.
And also, so that means that ego is there, head, that I am a great donor. I'm a great king. And so that ego, so Baba says to melt all the body consciousness. And so he says, start your Gita Pashala or center with 3 feet of land.
So, Baba says that at the time when Baba was speaking these morals, the yajna had nothing. So people are looking at this yajna, they think they are the big people. They've got the big wealth, they've got the big power. But Baba says in these morals, doesn't he, that one day the sannyasis, the kings, they will come to you. And we saw that with our daddies, didn't we? That they went to the daddies to take blessings. The politicians, the presidents, they go to the daddies. And now even one of Baba's children is the president. So this is the meaning of this story. And so if we're in the limited, this is what Ranjan I think is trying to say, that we can be in our limited intoxication and ego and not realize that God is performing an unlimited task. And in front of that task, we are just small. Whenever we think we are big, we are just small.
And also, like we heard Daddy's message and Daddy's teaching, that to join her in, doing Baba's huge task with humility and with fast speed, with unlimited intellect.
It's a nice story to end on today. So thank you, sisters, for your contribution, and also warm regards to all of you joining through the YouTube video later on as well. Om Shanti. Have a great week.
Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.